1:15. We're supposed to go from 12:30 to 1:15 is what we announced. So, well, one more question.
We'll hang around as long as you like.
We'll do one more with Tom Lagos.
1933, the Glass-Steagall Act was put in place to protect against the Great Depression. For 60 years, we had no problems in banking. In 1999, it was repealed. Citibank put in about $100 million to get that repealed so they could merge with Travelers. We've essentially gone through an incredible financial crisis here with a huge sucking sound of the middle class evaporating, going to the elite. It seems like we're continually going in the wrong direction, and we've got private lobbyists for for corporate entities and PACs, super PACs now, that you don't even know where the money's coming from, that are supporting individuals to present their campaigns and so forth. So it just seems to me that, you know, Congress is broken, and if anything, it's getting worse. And until you change things, how does anything function? So, you know, how do you go back to the savings and loan crisis where we were putting people in jail, and now I don't think anybody's gone in jail for what has just happened. And I think Angelo from Country Bank, or Countrywide, got a slap on the wrist for $60 million, and then Bank of America ended up paying for it. So how do you fix a system that keeps going in the wrong direction? You don't know where the money's coming from, and it's really serving corporate lobbyists and special interests, and not really the constituents of the United States of America.
I'll take this one first, since you agree with it. Really what we need to do is step back and look at the federal government as an extremely powerful institution that now assumes it has no constitutional limits on its power. The reason we have lobbyists and big companies benefiting is because the federal government and those lobbyists and big companies are like this. There's a power structure there that essentially serves the elite in this country to the detriment of all of us. The essential fact is that people run for Congress, most people, probably not the three of us, but most people run for Congress to seek power and to seek all the benefits that come from that. People spend multiple millions of dollars getting elected to Congress, not because it pays $170 grand a year, but because the power represented in those offices is sufficient to make a $10 million or in some cases $20 or $30 million investment worthwhile. The fundamental problem we have in this country is that the federal government has grown way outside the boundaries of this simple little book that contains the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States of America. We have a fundamentally broken Congress and broken Washington because all of that power has corrupted the federal government. It's taken states' rights away. It's taken our individual liberties away. The only way we're going to fix that is to elect really different people to office who will make some real changes.
The source of corruption, which Curtis was getting to but didn't hit directly, is power. And the only way to curb corruption is to take power out of Washington, D.C. and return it to the people where it really belongs, and that's you. That's what the Constitution, as Curtis was saying, was set up to do, was to ensure that the power of the federal government was very limited. Limited and only limited to those things that we can do as individuals. We cannot authorize and delegate to our government powers that we have no right to exercise. I can't go to your home, break into it, steal your property. It doesn't matter if I give it to a charity or not. That's theft. It doesn't make any difference, okay? It doesn't make it right to ask a middleman called Uncle Sam to do this for you on your behalf. It's wrong. It's morally wrong. And that is, unfortunately, everything that the incumbent stands for today is more government power. And you see that. Previous mandates and interference in the economy justifies more government control over our lives. The only way we can get out of this cycle is to break it completely, take power away from Congress, restore our constitutional limits, and enforce them. It's the only way. Then we won't have Congress picking winners or losers in the economic field. That's what the bailouts were. That's what subsidies are. Every law that gets passed needs to apply to everyone equally. And all of our rights need to be protected equally. And now we have Obamacare. You think it's bad that the government has control over our economic life and death if you're a businessman? Okay? Through Obamacare, they now have literally control over our physical life and death on this planet. And that is wrong, dead wrong.
Well, I think all three of us, it's interesting, kind of agree with your observation, but in my opinion, both of my opponents kind of missed the mark on the solution. Problem, Citizens United, corporate personhood, campaign finance, I go right at it and that's where we address it. Citizens United was a dismal case. It said corporations have free speech as individuals do. Now look, corporations are very important constructs. They play an economic role. They isolate shareholders from risk. God bless them. But they're not political entities. They're there to create value for shareholders. When they make a political investment, they're only able to do it to maintain fiduciary responsibility to shareholders for the very cynical reason of increasing their profits. That's co-opting government for their own profit. And it doesn't matter whether it's Democrats or Republicans. They co-opt Democrats to get expenditures. They co-opt Republicans to get tax cuts, okay? Special interest tax cuts that just benefit their corporation. Special expenditures from the Democrats that benefit their corporation. Same thing. Two sides of the same coin. It's wrong. I support public financing in campaigns. I'm a co-sponsor of the Fair Elections Act. Look, these companies and the people that finance campaigns aren't doing it, out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it to further their own bottom line. And when they donate $500,000, $1 million, or channel it in an independent expenditure, they're getting more of a profit out of that candidate than that. They're making that in a very cynical way. What my plan would do, candidates for office would be encouraged to raise a whole lot of $50 contributions. They get matching funds from the federal government. Arizona has this, Maine has this for their state offices. I support it at the federal level. I think that's the only way we can clean this thing up.
So the answer there was to end corruption, we're to give more power to the people that are already corrupt.
No,
it makes absolutely
you're giving
no
it to $50 donors rather than the big corporations.
No.
Anyway,
support is something that you earn. Votes are something that you earn. They're not a gift from Washington, D.C.
I think we're out of time. Let's all thank